All right. In this video, I'm gonna go through the OpenAI's function calling capabilities. I'm currently on the developer platform site, platform.openai.com, and I'm on the function calling page here. It's under the capabilities over here on the left. Function calling it's interesting, right? It's interesting in that it gets you thinking about a lot of things. For me, it did. It got me thinking about, why would you need to call, functions, right? This large language model, it knows everything. OpenAI knows everything. Well, the reality is it doesn't really. It knows about a lot of public things. But we also know that the model's been trained and capped on a point in time, right? It doesn't know about more recent things, and they're working on making it more real time, but there's gaps in data. So accessing publicly available real-time data becomes a necessity for OpenAI's ability to reason and generate text and so on and so forth. As well as like privately held information, right? You may have a private database, or you may have some information that not everybody has access to, including OpenAI. And so for that, we need functions so that we can call it and help augment responses that come back from OpenAI. One of the challenges that I had is I wanted a really simple example, and I think I've put one together for us. I've put together two examples. So I put together just super simple kind of hello, goodbye, why does it call one or the other? And then I put together a more complex example for us using an external API to go and get cryptocurrency data from Coin Gecko's API. And we'll go over Coin Gecko's API in a little bit when we're looking at the code. But anyways, if you need additional information about function calling, their documentation, it's good. I think it's pretty good. No real gaps to call out here. They do have a warning here about some Unicode character issues that they have. Python doesn't really suffer from that. But the whole gist of the function calling is you can provide functions to your call to OpenAI, and OpenAI can make a determination of whether or not it needs to make a call, or if it thinks that it would be helpful to make a call to a function that you've provided. And I'll go through what makes up that determination, because for me that was like, how does it know which one to call and when does it call it? But then you'll see that there's this kind of circular, like you make a call to the model then determines it needs to call a function in your code. It calls the function, then it returns the result to the model, and then it uses that result to then create a response that gets sent down to the user. And we'll walk through that in the code here in a little bit. One of the things, that here, we'll just look at the example that they put here. One of the things that I don't particularly care for is just how verbose it is. You see, we define this tools right here, and then we have to define our function and all the properties and all the attributes of it. Don't like that. I'm going to use Langchain to hide all that complexity, and it knows this JSON format, so we can just give it our function declarations and describe some bits about it, and it'll take care of all that. So I don't care for this. I understand that they need to understand all of this information, this reflective information about the functions that you have. So I totally get why they have to do it. I just really don't want to type all of this out. So we're going to use Langchain to hide all this complexity from us. So with that, let's get into the code. Let's take a look at a couple examples that I put together. So what I got going on here is I've got just a little project that I set up in PyCharm. It's a Python project. The code is up on GitHub. Use it, do whatever you want with it. Do it for research purposes only. I should go on the record of saying this is not investment advice. I am not encouraging you to use this code as a basis for making an investment plan for yourself. Although I am going to showcase how you could use Coin Gecko and some of the things that OpenAI knows about investing to put together an investment model. We'll cover that in a second. But before we do that, let's just take a look at a super simple example that I put together for us, where I put together two functions, okay? I put together a hello function, which is simply just going to return a string hello from the function, and I created a bye function, a goodbye function, and buy from the function. Now, this is the thing that I really like, and we looked at that super verbose JSON that creates tools. Well, Langchain has the capability to hide all that complexity from us. So right here, we can set up tools using this tool object and provide a name for the function, and then specify the actual function that'll be called, and then a description. This part's really important, and this is the part that I haven't seen people online talking about in their videos. This description, OpenAI will use. It'll infer what it needs to do, or potentially need to do, from the description here, and then it'll decide to call it. So if I say, that this is useful for greeting a new user, it'll know that, oh, hey, this is a new user, I should probably call that function. And then if I say, hey, this is useful when you're saying goodbye to someone, it will also know that, oh, I should probably call that if we're saying goodbye or I'm out of here. So there's our tools, right? So the tools are the functions that we'll be passing into OpenAI. As in all my videos, you're going to need an OpenAI key, and you're going to need a .env file, and you'll see that I'm loading up that .env file, which gets us our OpenAI API key, and you can get that from the website. That's pretty straightforward, easy enough, great. So right here, we're just creating a chat OpenAI object. And then we're creating some messages. So this is just a super simple system message saying you're a helpful assistant. Great. And then we're going to accept in the user's input, right? Like, well, what do you want to ask us? And then we're going to hold on to this scratch pad. And the scratch pad is where our tools, remember all that function JSON that needs to get passed into the model too, to let OpenAI know that it has capabilities. Well, it's gonna sit right there. So this is just a holding place for that. And right here, this is where we're converting those objects into the JSON, the function JSON that OpenAI expects. So that's pretty easy enough to follow along and understand. We're setting up our agent here. We're passing in our input, so we're just going to pass through what we call when we invoke the agent, right? We're going to ask it a question. And here's our scratch pad, so we're putting in our function calls. We have our prompt, which is our 3 messages from up above. And here's our tools, right? And then we're going to just get the output from OpenAI. And so then we're gonna execute it, tell it to be verbose. So we set up an executor. So right here, so here's our first invocation that we're gonna run, and the input that we're passing into is, "Hi, I'm new here." This sounds an awful lot like a greeting. So let's just go ahead and give this a run and see what happens when we fire this off. So we're entering our chain. You'll see right here that we got a response back from OpenAI that said, hey, you need to invoke this function for us. And sure enough, it went ahead and it added our, it invoked our function, got the string back, and it concatenated it onto its response, right? So hello from the function, hello, new user, right? So it detected that it needed to call hello and not goodbye. And it did that from the description. So it reasoned about which one it should potentially call. So then if I just, we'll just comment this part out and uncomment out this other part, you'll see that we're going to pass in a message here that says, hi, I'm out of here. Now this is interesting because it starts off with hi, like a greeting, but then it says, I'm out of here. So it's saying that I'm leaving, right? And so this is a little test that I wanted to run on OpenAI. And sure enough, it understood the context of the message that it was leaving. The user was leaving, the system was leaving, and so it called our function, and it called by from our function, and then it appended on what it wanted to do too. We could control this output as well if we wanted to chain on other calls, other prompts, and so on and so forth. But in those functions, you could do all kinds of things, right? Like in the hello, we could open up a support ticket. In the goodbye, we could close a support ticket, right? And there could be all these interactions in between. So that's the gist of functions, right? We got it to invoke and call our functions. That's the most simple form. Great. So let's take a look at a little more complex version of function calling where we're going to use an external API. We're going to make a call to get a list of coins, and I'm going to be using Coin Gecko's API. Coin Gecko has a bunch of APIs for cryptocurrency, and with the recent rally in the crypto markets, hey, why not give a little crypto example? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Markets API, and it's going to give me market price, the market cap, volume, and I can control how many coins it gets returned. And I can also, one of the interesting things that I can do here is that I can order it, and I can order it, well, the default is by the market cap descending. So I can get the top 5 cryptocurrencies by market cap just by controlling the number of objects per page. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call per page 5. So I'm going to get back the top 5 cryptocurrencies. And I'm going to feed that into OpenAI to ask it to build us an investment plan off of that. So we've got our coin list. We're just doing some sanity checking here. Did I get a 200? Yada, yada. Got the top 5 coins from Coin Gecko. And then right here, what I'm doing is I'm trimming out the name. So it returns me a whole bunch of data. Well, I don't want to pass all of that on to OpenAI because I'm limited with the number of tokens I can pass to it for 1. And for 2, you get charged based on the number of tokens that you send. So it doesn't need the name and the description of all this, all these coins, because the model already knows good and well about the cryptocurrency market. It doesn't know about real-time stuff. It knows up to a point in time, right? And then all these new occurrences, it doesn't know. So anyways, so I'm going to trim that out, and then that's what we're going to return from this function coins list. So I've commented out a function here called execute order, and I'll show you this in a second in the chain of what we're going to do here is we're first going to get our coins, and then we're going to ask OpenAI to build us an investment plan, and then we're going to analyze that data. So let's take a look at the prompt, because I think the prompt is the interesting thing here. So we have a picker prompt. And here's a list of the top 5 cryptocurrencies by market cap from the Coin Gecko API. And then this little placeholder, we're going to take that list that we got from the API and we're going to inject it into the prompt. Okay. So now it knows about, the well-being of the cryptocurrency market. And then we're going to say, given your knowledge of investing, create an investment plan for an individual that only has $3,000 using these currencies. Then we're going to say, invest as much of the amount without going over. Do not allocate more than 3,000. I had to put this in a couple times to make sure that it doesn't go over 3,000. And my prompt still might need a little tweaking because it might go a penny or two over. But in our example, the user doesn't have over that. So anyways, here's one of the interesting things too is in the response, return the price, ticker, ID, and the percentage. The ID and all this information, it's coming from Coin Gecko's API. So we're asking it to return that to us. And the dollar allocation, the percentage and dollar allocation that should be allocated to each currency. So here's where we're saying, hey, you have 5 cryptocurrencies, right? And we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. You don't want to just buy Bitcoin. You want to hedge against maybe some other currencies going up and so on and so forth. So you're going to spread your money out a little bit. That's a good investment plan. Once again, this is not investment advice. This is just, this is exploratory stuff. We're just talking here. So what we're doing is we're saying, hey, take that, return to me a percentage and a dollar allocation for our investment plan. And then I say, hey, return this to me in JSON. And also I'd say don't make up any currencies because I don't want the system hallucinating and making up currencies, because once it comes back with an investment plan, we could then chain a call to execute the order, right? And that was a commented out one, and we're not really going to do that in this example, but you could extend this to do that pretty easy just by hooking up to like the Coinbase API, or you pick the platform you want to buy and sell on. But anyways, so there's some other sanity checks here, ensure the percentage sum to 100. And then I describe the JSON structure to it. You can describe it. You can show examples of it. Whatever. I just say, hey, give me this JSON back into this particular format and call the attributes the same thing each time that you return them. So then what you'll see down here is we're using Langchain to create a chain. That's what it does, right? And so the first thing that it's going to do is it's going to call our function. So actually, Langchain is going to call the coin list function. It's going to get that list of the top 5 cryptocurrencies, and it's going to replace it in our prompt up here in the coins, right back up here. And then it's going to invoke or it's going to chain up the picker prompt. That's for our LLM. That's for OpenAI. That's our call to the model. And then we're gonna pipe that, right? We're gonna pipe that into OpenAI, and we're gonna get a response back from it. Right here, we're gonna call invoke on our chain, right? And then right here, we're gonna get the response back, right? So right here, we're getting the response data, and that's JSON.loads, JSON.content. I'm gonna convert this to JSON so I can just navigate this a little easier. And then right here, we're just doing some sanity checks. Hey, did you actually return me the investment plan? And then we do some other stuff to calculate, the dollar allocated, the total investment amount, how much of each currency you're getting. So let's watch this thing run. And we'll see what the output is. And right here, we've made our call to Coin Gecko. So we've gone out, hey, give me the top 5 cryptocurrencies. We've gotten the list back from Coin Gecko. Now we're going to put this into our prompt, and we're going to ask OpenAI to build us an investment model. And here's what it came up with. It's basically saying, you're investing in Bitcoin. That's its ticker. Here's its real-time price. If I were to ask OpenAI, hey, what's Bitcoin's current price? It would give you a price from several months ago. It would not be this number here. You'll also notice the interesting thing here is it's saying, hey, you should invest 30% of the total investment should go into Bitcoin. The dollar allocation will be 900. And then here's Ethereum. And here's Ethereum's price. It's had a nice rally. Both of these have had a nice rally lately. And it's saying, hey, you should put 40% of your money into that. And then you'll see that it starts tapering off the others. It's like, why don't you put 10%, 10%, 10% into USDT, Binance, XRP, Ripple. And then it's showing us what the dollar allocation is that adds up to $3,000. And then down here, we're not using AI to calculate the quantities. It's a simple function to calculate it. So we just calculate this and just print it out on the screen, right? So anyways, this was a fun little project. Hopefully it helps you understand the function calling capabilities, when to use it, why to use it, and how to use it. And maybe even by using Langchain, a shortcut on, saving you from typing out all those functions there by hand and just letting Langchain do it for you. Well, anyways, like I said earlier, the code is here on GitHub. Use it. Once again, it's not investment advice. It's just a fun little, working code example. Have fun. Enjoy the crypto rally. Talk to you soon. Comment, subscribe, like. If you need help with anything, just put a comment in there and I'll try to get back to you. All right. Have fun with OpenAI and their APIs.